My name is Millie Sass, and I went on a 21-day trip with Joji and Shawnee through all things India, and it was the most fabulous time. I have known Joji and Shawnee from years ago when I was in Wellington, and now I am living in the United States, and my daughter lives in Germany. So we teamed up and had a mother-daughter holiday in India with Shawnee and Joji and Joshua, and it was absolutely outstanding. I'm quite interested in fiber and textiles, and and Joji had put together this wonderful trip where we went into Gujarat to start off with, and then we went over to we went up to the Taj Mahal, which everybody has to do when you go to India, and we ended up in Delhi, and then we worked our way down to Lucknow and Kolkata, and we took many modes of transportation, and everything was well planned out. We sometimes changed the schedule because one weaving group might not be available one day, so we went the next day, but we saw weaving, we saw dyeing, we saw embellishment, we saw the villagers doing the work. We had fantastic weather. Transportation, we took bus and train and taxi. Must be something else we took. And everything worked like a charm. And the accommodations were incredible. Many of the all of the accommodations, I believe, were these heritage hotels. Some of them were old colonial buildings. Some of them were tents out in the villages. But every time, the staff was friendly, the food was great, we understood what we needed to do, what their expectations were, and how they could help us. And Shawnee and Joji always made sure that we felt safe. Because to me, going to India was a little different than any traveling that I had ever done, because I generally travel by myself. And going to India was like, gee, I don't think I could do this on myself, but I know that Joji and Shawnee will make sure that I'm safe and make sure that we have a good time. And it was particularly nice that my daughter Rebecca could join us, and 3 weeks was just perfect. A shorter time than that, I think we couldn't have moved the schedule around the way we needed to, and there were some very wonderful serendipitous things, like we saw in Ahmedabad the preparations for the kite festival that was coming up. And even in the airport in Ahmedabad, they were getting ready for a big business festival. And all that was very interesting and added to the whole experience. Food. Oh, the food was incredible. Yes, I never knew that you could have so much wonderful dishes for breakfast. But on the other side, we had one other person in our group, a woman from New Zealand, and she preferred to stay with kind of traditional fruit and cereal for breakfast, but that was usually available too. So whether you wanted to have Indian food for breakfast and lunch, or you wanted to have something more a little European, that was all possible. The staff at every place made us feel absolutely incredible, and Joji took care of all the little details for us. So we knew that where the bus was to pick us up and who was going to be with us the next day. We had a wonderful Bengali meal in Kolkata, and in a home, and it was home cooked. And we sat down and met the family, and we saw beautiful saris at that house too. But the whole focus was really meant to be on the food. I'm not sure which we enjoyed most. And
you had interaction with master artisans?
Yes, master artisans in these small villages, and also NGOs, non-government organizations. The master craftsmen were people who did the hand weaving and did the dyeing and did the block printing, and the NGOs were these organizations that helped disadvantaged people learn how to do these crafts, whether it was embroidery or stitching or whatever. So it was like two-pronged that way. Sometimes it was seeing the actual craftsman, and sometimes it was seeing an NGO doing that. No, there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, of course, the weather was fantastic. I'm sure Joji planned that too. And
the village experience, how did you find that?
The village was wonderful. We stayed in this absolutely incredible historic house north of Calcutta, and my daughter and my other travel companion, Ann, and I felt safe enough in this little village that we took a walk in the morning and went out into the farms, and everybody was very friendly. We were often very popular, and people wanted to take our pictures because in these villages, they don't see people like me very often. And of course, in Pittsburgh, I don't see a whole lot of real village people often either, so it was kind of give and take, and we often would ask for a selfie and so forth. Evening tea in Chumbo, yes, that was a safari park, and we went up the river, and that was a real treat, to go up the river and to see the alligators. No, they were crocodiles, and the native crocodile and another kind of crocodile. One had a long pointy nose, and to see the fishing nets and the whole river culture there. That it was just absolutely incredible. Yeah.
And the dolphins, of course.
And the dolphins, yes. The dolphins were a little sneaky. They would just kind of jump a little bit, but we would often see the dolphins jumping too. And we could have spent a lot more time there because they had wonderful bird walks. And I, for one, am going to go back to Pittsburgh and volunteer to give a presentation to my Fiber Arts Guild with all of my samples that I bought during this trip and some of the pictures. My pictures aren't that great, but I'm going to put it together. And I'm also going to promote that is All Things India is a place to go for this kind of trip. I tried to get some of my fiber friends in Pittsburgh to come with me this time, but nothing really worked out. And I was happy my daughter could come with me. In Ahmedabad, of course, this is where Gandhi's ashram was. And I'm not real good about Indian words, even after spending 21 days here. But the ashram is where it's a very holy place. And this is where Gandhi came and did his spinning. And I believe this is where he started his walk to the sea. And it was about salt. India has so much history, and now I have to read more about it. And there was a holy man there who was spinning on a chakra, spinning cotton, and he let me try to spin some cotton there. And also at one of the craftsmen's places, he let me spin on a chakra that Gandhi had actually spun on. And the other incredible thing was the pit looms. The pit looms that these village people were weaving these most incredible fibers or fabrics. They were cotton, silk, sometimes cotton and silk, wool, and sometimes they had like a supplemental warp. Sometimes they had some other kind of embellishment. Sometimes it was an open kind of weave. Sometimes it was whatever, it was just incredible, the variety that was here, and each group had its little specialty. We saw some other crafts that were a surprise, like we saw some enamel ware, we saw some pottery along the way. What else did we see? Enamel ware and pottery, and some children in a little village selling little dollies that they made. They were fiber, they were recycled, they were, I would say, creative reuse, and this was the village children trying to earn their pennies or their little rupees because they had made these things. And I will say that one thing that really surprised me was I did not find India as dangerous as some people implied. There were a lot of my friends that thought that I was taking a big risk, even going with Joji and Shawnee and All Things India. But I felt very safe. The village people were absolutely incredible. And even in the cities, as long as you had good travel sense and didn't flash. One time I tried to pay 150 euros for a cup of chai instead of 150 rupees. Now, let me tell you, Joji got right in there real quickly and corrected me on that one. So maybe if I had been on my own, I would have made some more serious mistakes like that. But, it was all very safe and wonderful.
You thoroughly enjoyed the trip.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. And who knows, maybe in a couple of years I can join one of All Things India's trips to Kerala. Because we really stayed in the north. It was a little bit cooler, which was fine because I was coming from Pittsburgh winter. But, maybe Kerala in the future would be nice. We'll see.
Thank you,
Okay, thank you.